Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. Very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And as I said, you can call in at 1-877-532-5797, or you can watch us on live stream, and some are already on and already on the comments board. Charles Daniels, I see you. Sarah Usher, I see you. Some already on the live stream comments board. I'll read some of them on the air. And you that want to talk on the air, giving us your thoughts and your views. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. A lot is happening. It's very interesting that President Trump had a almost 2-hour conversation, he said, with Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, yesterday, and just had a conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine. Seemingly cannot get the deal done. He's saying, oh, it's positive, all this, but Putin is putting stipulations. At the same time, we see an escalation in Gaza, with people being killed again, and the Israelis have said the ceasefire is over. So it seems that Trump, who said he could solve Ukraine in a day, has failed to do that. They're talking, but there's no solution. And he said that he can handle the Middle East crisis in a day. And the killing has started again. Same time, we have a judge that has ruled against what the Trump administration and Doge and Trump's co-president Elon Musk has done in terms of closing USAID, saying it may have violated the Constitution. And you have the chief judge, John Roberts, saying that in the 2-century history of this country, you do not impeach judges. Talking about Trump wanted to impeach the judge that ruled against his administration on deporting people from Venezuela, supposedly in the Venezuelan gangs, sending them to El Salvador. And so he lost on a couple of fronts yesterday because he's trying to use the legal battle of the Alien Enemies Act, which I believe was in 1798, something like that. And the judge said, no, wait a minute. We haven't even done due process. Let me explain that. People don't understand. There is no evidence that the Venezuelans that they deported not only are not a part of a gang, there's no evidence they're even criminals. They've never been arrested here. And there's no evidence they have been criminals in Venezuela or El Salvador, where they're now in one of these jails. Same time on the other side of the aisle, party aisle, Senator Chuck Schumer is still being criticized for making the deal to move forward with the Republicans' bill on the budget to keep the government alive. He's done a tour of shows saying why he did it. And as I said, he called me on Sunday and talked to me about it. I understand his rationale, but I sure would have liked them to fight a little longer, even if they had to come back to the same place. That's my view, but I want to hear your views. And, of course, your views on what I opened with. Now, one of the things that is very important to me, I talked about on the television show over the weekend how mysteriously on the Arlington National Cemetery website, the black soldiers and women, their pages all of a sudden disappeared. In Arlington National Cemetery, we don't know what happened. We'll look into it. Then I told you about how this Vietnam Medal of Honor winner, Charles Rogers, he disappeared from the DOD, Department of Defense website. Now we wake up this morning and find out Jackie Robinson, who served in the military in segregation time, refused to give up his seat in the front of a bus, military bus, was court-martialed, and still served out his military time, and was on the DOD, Department of Defense website. They took down Jackie Robinson. There's no more of a heroic figure in this country's history than Jackie Robinson, who broke the color line in baseball after serving this country. And this Department of Defense to take his down, and they put in, someone wrote in, well, that was a DEI placement. Jackie Robinson broke the color line. He didn't use DEI. There was no DEI. So I'm telling you that all of the evidence of the bigotry and white supremacy leanings of this administration every day is some evident again. Do you think it's coincidental that the first thing they do is go after diversity? It's not about merit. They talk about, well, you need merit and forget diversity. If he was married, Hegseth wouldn't be the head of the Department of Defense. He's never run anything. He ain't run a corner store, less known a department as big as that. And then how come all of a sudden it's the black soldiers, pages down at Arlington Cemetery, it's Jackie Robinson and Rogers, Charles Rogers down? I mean, come on. You can be naive, but don't be stupid. And, of course, the whole battle around DEI and the whole battle around Trump saying that whites are down the victims. He's going to fight against racism against whites. Fighting for blacks to have opportunities they were denied and their family was denied through generations is not being biased against whites. It is fighting the bias you had to face and catching up what was denied you. I have a race with you. I cheat by 50 yards. And when you say, no, I'm running faster and I want credit for those 50 yards, I call you a name. But that's what con men do. So let's talk about all of that and whatever else is on your mind and in your heart. I'm with you the whole 3 hours, and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Anita Bracey wants to say the Marine Corps canceled a concert filled with students of color because Hegseth, that's the secretary, and that Putin lackey killed all DEI programs. Interesting. So the Marine Corps, Anita, canceled a concert that was filled with students because of Hegseth and Trump is against DEI. I'm telling you, we need to organize. And if you don't want to, fine, I'm going to organize. Let me take a break and come back and let you know exactly how we getting ready to do that. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Anyway, who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor, who stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on civil rights and politics.
As far as I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them. Look at that.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, Support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 every Saturday and Sunday. And certainly we're already booking some heavyweights for you this weekend. Had them stacked up last weekend. I want people that can be clear on what is going on and accountable to it, and we'll deal with what it means in our community. So I won't waste your time. Don't waste us being on the air by not turning the TV on 5 p.m. Eastern time every Saturday and Sunday, and this Saturday and Sunday vital with all this going on at 1-877-532-5797. I'm taking your calls. So that's Politics Nation announcement. Let me also let people know I will be at the Saturday Action Rally Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the Village of Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Be with us and be a part of the rally as we gear up now to get ready for what we're going to boycott and deal with this spring. And all of that will be dealt with 2 weeks from today. We start the National Action Network Convention 25. We're going to deal with how we're going to target the private sector. We have every workshop you could think of, from mental health to how we deal with voter protection, to the role of the black church, the role of blacks in academia. We have everybody coming from Stacey Abrams to Ben Crump to Tatiana Ali doing the women's luncheon. You know, from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. We have 6 state attorney generals on how they're going to fight the national federal administration on these fights. We're going to have candidates that are getting ready to run across the country, including candidates for the mayor of New York. You want to be there, and it's all free. And there's a few openings left. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can register online, or you can call in at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. All right, and I really, I'm telling you, this convention is going to be extremely important. All right, let's go to Brother Wilson in Buffalo, New York. Brother Wilson, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
First of all, good afternoon, Rev. First thing, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on the program. So I'll be keeping it real,
all right,
as you say.
All right.
My first question is actually a request, and that is I would like to have some direction on how to get a transcript of not the entire episode, yet specifically the conversation that you had with Governor Hochul this past Sunday on Politics Nation.
Go to YouTube.
I did. I had trouble.
Then go to Instagram.
Let me get that down.
Yeah, go to Instagram.
Okay, great.
Because I posted on my Instagram, real-Sharpton. That's my Instagram. It's on there.
Real-Sharpton.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Then real quick, my second question was a statement concerning the state of America, and to segue into that, just like you said, to be clear and accountable. There's an Ahab and Jezebel spirit loose in this country. Okay? And for those that don't know, but just to give a brief history, but not go through all of it, go to 1 Kings, chapter 16, verse 29, all the way through chapter 22 and 40. And real briefly, basically, it's a moral account of Ahab and Jezebel. It's a cautionary tale highlighting the dangers of idolatry and abuse of power. And we can all agree that right now we're in a nation that's going through unchecked power. He's stealing money from the federal coffers. He's killing it with signing executive orders. And now he's trying to wipe out and destroy what I consider as a sacred document, the Constitution of the United States of America. It's supposed to govern us all, and we're supposed to revere it. While I'm in the spirit, I just want to add one more thing. In his first term, he signed an executive order. I believe it's Executive Order 13798. And what it concerns is the promoting of free speech and religious freedom. I don't want to get in the religious part, but promoting free speech. He said that he would defend and stand up for anybody who is exercising their right of free speech. But like the Bible says, a man looketh in the mirror and forget what manner of man he was, is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways.
Right.
And this is what he's showing us that he is. So people need to see that. And like the core principle of our democracy is to dissent, not so much in a physical revolutionary spirit, but having an adverse opinion, a strong adverse opinion to tyranny. because that's what we're dealing with. That's all I wanted to say about it.
All right. Well, I thank you for your call and appreciate you quoting scripture. Thank you for your call. Let me on our comments page on live stream, Sharon Williams says, why haven't black organizations stood up to Trump Orange Man for trying to erase black military history? I can't speak for anybody but National Action Network. And not only have we stood up on it, I helped bring it out. I've exposed it on the weekend show, Politics Nation. And Nan is all over it. We even talking to lawyers on how we can sue the Department of Defense over it and getting some of the families to see if they would be party to it, the families of some of the service people that was violated. So I'm not saying other organizations haven't. I'm not aware of it, but I know that in terms of bringing it up, in terms of Charles Rogers, we brought it up. I raised it on the show over the weekend, one of the first to do it, and brought it up on this show Monday, and we're actively looking to do lawsuits. I brought up Jackie Robinson today, brought up Medgevers yesterday. We've been all over this, Sharon. All right, let's go to Daryl in Washington, D.C., WOL. Sharon.
Let's take a break.
Wait a minute. Daryl, hold up a minute. I'm going to bump into the break. Keeping it real. To Politics Nation, just 2 months into Trump's second term, the administration's unprecedented policy moves on trade, immigration, and civil rights put the president on a political collision course with the state he was born in and the city he once called home. Joining me now to talk about it in studio is New York's Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul. Governor, first, thank you for being with us, and thank you for your moving message at the funeral of NAACP Hazel Dukes. We were all so moved by what you had to say.
Thank you. Your words were profound as well, Reverend Al.
Thank you. Governor, you met with President Trump at the White House on Friday. What can you share with us about that meeting in terms of the tone and the substance of your conversation?
Well, I reached out to the president again because there is so much I need to deliver for New York and New York City in particular. I need to get Penn Station done and make sure we have money for the 2nd Avenue subway, which is so important. I want to make sure that we have an understanding on immigration that says we'll help you when you have serious violent criminals you need to get off the streets. I've always said that. We've done that under the Biden administration, but we're not going to be there to allow you to just take people off the streets and split up families. And so we had a conversation also about tariffs. I want to talk about the impact of tariffs on New York. It is devastating, absolutely devastating for our farmers upstate New York, for our factory workers who aren't sure if they're going to be able to do phase 2 of a major project. I was in Buffalo, my hometown, right on the border with Canada. So I needed to be able to continue the conversation with him on some of our energy policies. I talked about how important offshore wind was, talked about opportunities for maybe small modular reactors so we could power the innovation economy in New York. I need to keep that dialogue going, but they're also understand this about me. My willingness to talk about areas where we could have a common interest does not take away from my responsibility as a leader of the state to fight back and fight back hard when the line is crossed and you've hurt New Yorkers or attacked our values.
Now, President Trump wants to get rid of congestion pricing program you put in place. However, he also wants a natural gas pipeline built in New York State. And you mentioned you just mentioned it may he may be interested in a Penn Station redesign. Did you get the sense in your meeting with the president that he's open to making deals on these issues?
You know, I don't want to get into private conversations, but I spent an enormous amount of my time in there talking about how congestion pricing is working. It really is working. I think a lot of people who are naysayers, who say this is going to crush the city, nobody's going to come in, they were wrong. And I wanted him to just see the data that I had more recent numbers. Broadway's up. Retail sales are up $900 million. We have more people on the streets walking around, going into stores, and 10% increase on riders on the subway. So all the fears that were out there are absolutely unfounded, and people are getting to the city so much faster. So I needed to help walk him through what I thought were the real reasons why we need to keep this and not have it shut down, which is what he said the administration would do beginning this Friday. But we, as I've said, and I was very aggressive in this, we are not turning off the cameras. This is our program. We put this in place. We have the proper approvals, and we feel if necessary we'll be successful in court. But I was hoping it wouldn't have to get that far, but time will tell.
All right, New York was one of 3 northern states hit with surcharges on Canadian electricity this month after Trump imposed tariffs. What's your message to the president on trade wars, and what can you do to protect the state economically?
Our states, our residents, the people you promised to lower the cost of everything on day one, they're the collateral damage in this war. And there may be some long-term gain that the president sees, but why are we making people suffer right now? They've been through enough. Inflation, the pandemic. Our people are hurting. They just want people to give them money back in their pockets. So that's at odds with what I'm trying to do in New York, which is find a way to get over up to $5,000 in families' pockets with child tax credits and the largest middle-class tax rate cut in 70 years, and to put money from the inflation rebate. We collected so much money in sales tax because of inflation. I want to put it back in people's pockets. So contrary to what is happening in Washington, where they don't seem to care about the people they promise lower prices because tariffs will drive up prices, we are doing the exact opposite here in New York.
Now, 2 of your fellow New Yorkers, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, disagreed last week on whether to go along with Trump and the Republican spending bill. You've talked about leading the resistance against Trump, but you are also trying to work with him. What are your thoughts about the debate that's going on within the Democratic Party about how to respond to the president?
You know, we need to get back on the same page, because anytime we're not like this, it benefits the Republicans. We need to realize that. And so, yes, families can disagree on an approach. I get that. But let us not forget who brought us here, who brought us to this place. We should not have had a continuing resolution that could hurt people, and Republicans in the House who are voting for programs that could be devastating. We have to stop that and be smart about knowing who we're attacking and who we have to go up against, and it's not each other.
Now, let's get to some local issues. You and I have worked together on combating crime in the streets and on the subways, and we've joined with Attorney General Letitia James and Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg on the issue of discovery law reforms to make sure victims of crime get their day in court. I'm concerned about domestic violence and some of the records that they brought out to me about that, DA Bragg. Where are we with that?
I have introduced legislation in my budget, and we're negotiating it right now. I'll be back in Albany tomorrow, and I'll be negotiating on this. What I want to do is talk about the reforms. Back in 2019, important reforms were put in place because the system was skewed against defendants. It really was. Prosecutors were withholding too much information. The law had to change, and I support that. But it has now gone the other way. The pendulum has swung so far that defense lawyers are scamming the system, withholding information to the last minute. Or that they're saying that if even a tiny bit of information, that you already have a duplicate bit of information that confirms it, that's a reason to throw out a case altogether. And you're absolutely right. It is the victims of domestic violence and rape. Think about the women who had to go through the horrible, horrible process of exposing their lives, being willing to prosecute someone and go stand up against someone who harmed them. And then to have a judge and prosecutors say we can't bring it forward because the information was too late. I mean, I'm talking about minor technicalities. If there's something significant, yes, of course you should not have the case dismissed. But I'm talking about just fixing a system, because before the reforms were put in place, 42% of cases brought in New York City were dismissed. Now it's 62%.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Daryl in Washington, D.C. Daryl.
Sharpton?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I know time is precious, so I'm just going to go ahead and get straight to it and enjoy your show. Mr. Sharpton, yesterday I had a conversation with a young black man, This is a young black man in that age 30 to 35-year-old group, and he's fortunate that he has his own business.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation, we've had many conversations, but the conversation yesterday to me was like the issue of climate change, where the warnings are going out about it. And
about climate change?
Well, I'm making an analogy is that, we have had many warnings about climate change and what needs to be done. And so I'm making an analogy in regards to young black men and minority men from this recent election that was had, and how that demographic, many of them voted for Trump. And this is what this is about. This young black man that, he has his own business and I do business with him. It was a warning, I think, that needs to be listened to. And you as a leader within the black community and a leader that national figures and national parties listen to. My point that I'm trying to make is this young black man, in the conversation that we were having, was parroting many of the MAGA points that they are making. In regards to this young black man told me that he does not see Trump as being racist. This young black man said, and how he spoke about Kamala Harris, it vote for either of them, but what he was saying about her, what he was saying about Trump, not believing that Trump is racist, not seeing the Republican Party and what they are doing as being racist. It was really a shock to see that this young black man, if you had a curtain up between the two of us, you would have thought you were talking to someone who was a member of the MAGA Party.
Wow.
But this was a young black man. And this is a young black man who has his own business. And amongst his peers, I think he is a person like you. He is seen as a leader. People listen to him. And so my point is that the Democratic Party had better wake up. It has been said, but my question is, it's like climate change. The warnings have been made, but are we listening to it? And in regards to minority men, and I'm speaking as a black man, and you as a black man, the Democratic Party had better wake up, because this young black man, and I think many people like him, are supporting Trump.
Yeah.
And the talking points to me tells me that where are you getting your information from? Because there's a lot of historical things that I brought to his attention. He was like, I was not aware that. One, you don't know history. You don't know why things are as they are now. And you don't know the historical context to a lot of things. So that's one thing within the black community of us knowing our history. But my point is, where is he getting his information from?
Well, you're absolutely right. And that is a real cause of concern, Daryl, that a lot of us are getting misinformation as is true. I thank you for your call. I'll give you an example, right? This afternoon, I was reading on the comments online, and let me read this. Kathy Ford, who I appreciate what she said. She says, it's crazy how folks are worried about Reverend Al has paid his taxes when you got a man at the White House who never paid taxes. And for sure, his net worth is much more than Reverend Al's. I don't know how we continue to tear our own brother down. Well, first of all, 10 years ago, they did an audit and tried to say I owed taxes. Whatever they said it was, I paid every dime. Otherwise, do you really think I could be sitting up with an NBC TV show and a radio show and they not be leaning on my salaries? I mean, anyone that would believe that is just stupid. I can understand them being misled. But how do you turn on the TV and see me 3 or 4 times a week and on the radio, and I'm on every day, and think that the IRS don't know where I am? Obviously, that's not true anymore. But a lot of us would want to believe that, or any other misinformation. First of all, if I owed a lot of taxes, I'd be hiding. I certainly wouldn't be saying, "Hey, yo, I'm here today in Selma, up, I'm at home." I mean, come on. But they have got our people, and thank you again, Kathy. They've got our people and other people so crazy that we believe things that don't even make common sense. Then one lady said that I wrote a letter on behalf of my brother who was in trouble. You should criticize me if I didn't write a letter asking for them to give my brother some fairness. So I'm using me as an example only because it popped up on our comments to show you how crazed they have the public. Donald Trump is convicted of 34 felonies. I ain't not convicted, not even charged with nothing. But they will imagine something from a 10, 12-year-old story. And the reality is he right now is a 34-count convicted felon and found in the civil courts guilty of sexual harassment. Guilty. And owes the state of New York $500 million. You're going to dig up an article that said they wanted to assess me a certain amount of taxes 12 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever it was, that was settled then. Because that's what you want to believe. Just say, I don't like Sharpton, or I don't agree with what they're doing. I'm fine with that. But you should have more respect for yourself than to play lopsided like that. Let's go to Bruce in Georgia. Bruce in Georgia, WAOK. Bruce.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
Happy to I'm able to talk on your show today. I haven't spoken in about over a year. I had a little family problem, things with my family, but I have been listening to you.
Okay,
I have been listening to you.
I appreciate it.
I wanted to talk. A lot of what you've just said and what the last gentleman said leads into what I wanted to talk about, because those who do not study their history are destined to repeat it. And that's what we're doing now. We're repeating things because they're stolen our history. I wanted to talk about two separate little things, and I hope I have that time. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. You have spoken very often about the president having a picture of Andrew Jackson in his office and taking other pictures out but putting it there. And I believe there is a reason that Andrew Jackson is in his office. Andrew Jackson was known by the Native Americans as the Indian removal president.
Right.
He put out executive orders to remove them from different places. For instance, where I am right now, Georgia, they were removed from the state because they found gold in certain parts. So they removed them so that white people could come in and claim that. Now, one of the things that he said is what Trump is repeating now. When he put out that removal order, the Supreme Court under John Marshall at that time took that order back. He said, no, you cannot do that. Jackson went on and removed them anyway. And when they told him, what is the John Marshall going to say? And he said this: John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it.
That's right.
In other words, he went up against them.
Which is exactly what Trump is trying to do now.
Absolutely. He is doing the same thing. And I don't know how that thing at 12 o'clock is going to work, because today at 12 o'clock, they were supposed to present to the Department of Justice was supposed to present to them what their findings are on the people that they're removing. What is their evidence? How are they doing it? I don't know if they actually turned the evidence over by 12 o'clock or not.
Right.
But the point is, he is pressing the exact same issue. Let them enforce it. And
same
it will
issue.
be very difficult. I'm sorry, sir.
Same issue. That's right. Let me also add this, Bruce.
Yes.
The same Andrew Jackson that said let them enforce it, which was undermining the judicial branch of government, is the same Andrew Jackson as president that nominated Roger Taney to the Supreme Court, who was the justice of the Supreme Court that came down with the Dred Scott decision that blacks had no rights, that any white had to respect. That's who he's got his portrait of Andrew Jackson, who said that about let them enforce it, and who gave us the Dred Scott decision judge. That's whose pictures in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. Taken down when Biden was there. Wasn't there with Obama. Only Trump hung up Andrew Jackson.
And he's enforcing Andrew Jackson's philosophy right now. They're not Native Americans. They're other people. And I can just imagine if he said the Crips and the Bloods were creating the same problem. Let's move back somewhere else too. And I don't think it's too far from that.
Right.
But when you hear the other gentleman talk about young black people not knowing their history, and you look at the correlation between now and them saying, especially in Florida, the governor saying, we're not going to use the word black. We're not going to use the word gay. We're not going to. He went through all of that stuff to take off the Enola Gay, which was the plane that flew the bombs over Japan and the war. Not knowing that, he just saw the word gay, so he had it stricken from our books.
That's right.
But that is what is. If it's all right, can I be held out? I just wanted to reach.
Let me go to the next call. Thank you for your call. Keeping it real. Hold them over. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Dallas. Keeping it real.
The more you grind, the more you realize that people look and behave exactly like the choices they make every day. Whatever your choices are, how you eat, how you exercise, how you handle your temperament, how you handle challenges, whether you're disciplined, all of that is reflected in how you appear and how you behave every day. Your daily choices. That's why no matter where I am and no matter how much I have to do, I stay on my grind, working out, watching my diet, and trying to deal with my temperament because my behavior is a reflection of my choices that I make every day. And I don't worry about people being in opposition. People that oppose you are the ones that believe in your power and your potential more than anything. If they would oppose something that didn't have some force and power with it. So make your daily choices carefully and be very loyal and committed to the choices you make.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. they wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Beyond law, I love you. Beyond life, and see the ways that God has brought you. Oh, anybody?
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they are trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al. And let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Andre J in Chicago. Let me say this: when people are on the show, so you don't give our screen a hard time, and if you get to a point and we go to a commercial, don't ask me on the air to hold you over. I will hold you over if you're in the middle of a good point. But once you ask me and I say that, then everybody going to call me and want to talk for all the rest of the afternoon, and I won't be able to do that. Never do that. Anytime somebody asks me on the air, I cut them off because I do not want to open Pandora's box, because everybody will get them some milk and cookies and sit down and call me and keep saying, can I hold on? Just please don't do that. If I'm hearing you in the middle of a point, I will respect you and say, hold on. But let me say it. Don't put me on the screen in that position. Because some folk just ain't got nothing to do but talk all day long. And if they, you let the other guy do that. So come on, you know how some of us could be. All right, let's go to Andre J in Chicago, WVON. Andre J, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yeah, thank you, Rev, and thank you for saying that, because that's the absolute truth. It's like sometimes people don't know how to distinguish things, whether they should or should not ask you on the air. And I make it a point not to do stuff like that.
Right.
So, Rev, look here. Rev, first thing I want to talk about is that you mentioned DEI, right? So I think that Hakeem Jeffries or some of the Democrats should find a way to get those Republican senators and congressmen on record stating whether or not they are for Donald Trump and Hicks. They're doing away with DEI and the racism behind it. So that way we know who's who come election time. I don't know if that's possible, but I think they need to find a way to get on the record, because they've been very quiet about all of what Donald Trump.
Who do you want to get on the record?
Those are Republicans. The Republicans that support Trump. Get them on record whether or not they're against DEI and the racism behind it. Those are the ones, because I don't think no Democrats are supporting or getting rid of DEI. Oh, I believe it's just those Republicans. So if they could find a way to get them on record, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing, Rev, let me give you a scenario, Rev. Let's say that we got a father and a mother in a house, and they got 10 kids. The 10 kids all don't want to go out and play at the same time. The mother say, no, you can't go out. It's too hot outside. The father say, yeah, you can go out. So now should the father compromise his belief to go along with the mother to keep the family together, to keep the peace? Or should he just stick to his no, or yes, rather, and keep the family bickering and fighting? Well, this is, I put that scenario out there because that's how I feel about Chuck Schumer. I think Chuck Schumer should have taken into consideration whether or not he wanted to keep the Democrats together, not the blacks, but keep the Democrats together. Because I believe that sooner or later that Chuck Schumer's going to have some sort of program or something he's going to want support from Democrats. And they might not want to go along with it. Some of those Democrats have been fighting as hard as they can against Trump and what's been going on. And he kind of took the wind out of their sails when he went against the grain like that. So I think it was more important for Chuck Schumer to kind of keep the family together, keep the Democrats together, rather than go out on his own personal opinion, because he really didn't have no facts. Although Donald Trump had the longest government shutdown in history, lasted over 30-some days, but they didn't fire nobody then when that happened. So it was an assumption on Schumer's part. And you know what they say when you assume some things. So I don't think he should have did that. The other reason is that I think that he should have stuck with it is because, you know, if he considered himself to be a leader, one thing leaders do is they go where there's no path and leave a trail. They don't follow nobody's path. They go where there is no path and leave a trail for people to follow. And so that's something that he could have done. Because think about this, Rev. Al Green was in the hospital. Al Green left the hospital to come to vote against the impeachment of Mayorkas. And he was sick, and he left the hospital. So that shows his dedication to the party. He wanted to keep the party together. He didn't left in the hospital. Chuck Schumer could have followed his lead and did whatever he could to kind of keep the party together. Lastly, Rev, I think that, I don't know if it'll happen, but I believe that Donald Trump should tell Vladimir Putin, say, if you don't go along with this ceasefire, stop this war, we will continue to fund Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine. That ought to ruffle his feathers. That ought to make him reach some sort of consensus. Now, I don't know if Trump would do that because he's so favored to Putin.
Right.
But you got to put.
I think on that last point you made, Andre, is that the reason that he won't do it is because he's has this arrangement, association, or whatever with Putin. He plays tough guy with everybody else. So why wouldn't he say that to Putin, other than what everyone has suspected, that he's compromised in some way to Putin? He sat up on television, live television, in the Oval Office and talked to Zelensky like he was a little boy. But with Putin, he said he almost talked to him 2 hours yesterday, and they're almost there. It was a good conversation. We got to keep working. Why didn't he scream and carry on with Putin unless there are factors that all of us have suspected?
Well, the way I read that, Reverend, is that criminals of the same feather still together.
Right.
That's what I tell you about that. Last, Rev, where are these Christians at? I'm not asking you. I'm saying, where are these Christians at that said that God put Donald Trump in office? You know, I would like to hear from them and ask them, do they still feel the same way that God put Donald Trump in office? Because it seems like to me everything Donald Trump done is ordained by Satan, by the devil. I don't see nothing godly about Donald Trump.
Well, I tell you, thank you for your call. I think you have a right to question where those that said that God put Trump in, unless they're saying God put Trump in to challenge us to stand up and see which side we're on. And it is very strange to me that people that are worried about whether a man or a woman is a born man or woman in the bathroom, and they're not worried about children now not being able to get their meals, seniors getting harmed with Social Security. They're not worried about people being unemployed with families. It seems to be a weird, strange, unexplainable kind of salvation to me. When you don't worry about the poor, you don't worry about the widow, you don't worry about the elderly, you don't worry about the sick who's going to lose Medicare and Medicaid, but you worried about, you imagine somebody. You have no reason to, but you imagine somebody might be in the bathroom with you that got their sex changed. And that's the extent of your salvation. I mean, sick is too nice a word to say that you are. That is sick. They're talking about taking seniors' Social Security that they invested in. That is not a gift. They're talking about taking away Social Security that people worked and put away for and using that to leverage to pay for the tax cuts for the billionaires. Talking about we got to cut into Medicare. People that need Medicare. And most of them are in rural red states. They're talking about sacrificing their health so we got to pay for these tax cuts so billionaires can get their tax cuts because they may reinvest one day in America. And I'm with Andre J. And you call yourself a Christian or Muslim or Jew, all of the religions teach against that kind of self-indulgence and insensitivity. All of them. Jesus, Muhammad, all of them teach that. So I do not understand how you take your religion seriously. Bruce Turner said they are quiet as a church mouse, Rev, and that's right. That is exactly right. And I think that sums it up. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body, if He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront. name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God doesn't smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say this song. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. And I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. God smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I went home and I told my mother what Brown told me. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief, all we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. And that has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I said, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Great Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Lord, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has an answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God children just have will, and I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God had smiled on me. He had let me free. Let me sing here. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord.
You're live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and watch us do the show live stream and put your comments in, and I'll read them. In the commercial period, on live stream, for those that don't know, I see they're commenting. He played a record, J.T. Trollinger, our media guy, that was cut in 1979, never hit the market. James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, called me. I was 26 years old, and he'd been helping my youth group about 10 years then. And he said, Reverend, I want to do a gospel rap record. I said, what is that? He said, I want to sing. James Cleveland has a song, Our God Has Smiled on Me. James Cleveland, for you that are younger don't know, was the king of gospel at the time. He says, I want to do it upbeat, and I want to pause between each verse, and you preach a line like you in church. And he flew me down. We drove up to Greenville, South Carolina, went in the studio. He had the JBs, his band, and we made the record. Never got it out. He had other contracts, couldn't get it out. And but I kept the record. He always had me have the tape, so I have it, and I play it every day in some of the intermissions. So that's me preaching and James Brown singing, and the JB's playing. So I hear a lot of you. I see Happiness Donuts saying I love that song, and I'm going to talk to James Brown's daughter, see if we can find a way to get it out. And this is before anybody knew who I was, other than some of the youth groups in New York. But that's the kind of father figure James Brown was for me. Let's go back. Let me read while I'm on the page, live stream page. Willie Wilson Jr. says Chuck Schumer said the federal court system would be shut down during a government shutdown. which within allowed Donald Trump and Elon Musk to do whatever they want. And that's true. And I think that Schumer, I understand his logic. I just think they should have fought until it was obvious who was shutting it down, and then maybe do what they had to do. And I think he should have consulted others. Like I said, he called me Sunday. He should have called me before he did it and explained it, and others, not just me, so everybody understand what he was doing. We just was totally cut off guard. But thank you for that. And I don't know if the Willie Wilson Jr. is the son of Willie Wilson Sr. I knew one of the great leaders in Washington, D.C. I don't know if it's that Willie Wilson, but I read your comments anyway. Let's go to Richard in Georgia, WAOK. Richard, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
We lost Richard.
We lost Richard, all right. So then I'll go to the west side, because he claims it's the best side of Chicago, to my ace boon coon, Brother Frank.
Yes, sir. Right now, my pal. I claim it's confirmed. The west side is the best side, brother, and the south side, too. That's where all the black people are at.
All right.
Same place where you at, Reb. How you doing, Reb?
I'm doing good. You all right?
Reb, I wasn't going to call in, but I just can't keep on sit back, listen, and just hearing just seeing my heart getting breaking. It seems like people are just giving up. Reb, now they're giving Donald Trump just too much power. Now, you hear what's been saying. Now we know he's going to try to defy the courts. Now we know Elon Musk is behind it.
Right.
Let him see him enforce it. Reverend, we overlooking. It's like we can't see the trees for the forest. We can't see the forest for the trees. Reverend, what would happen to you if you defy a court order? If a court order you do something, what would that judge do to you? What can that judge do to you?
Jail.
That's right. He can issue a bench warrant and have you arrested.
That's correct.
Am I right or wrong, Red?
That's correct.
This judge, the Supreme Court, any judge can do the same thing to Donald Trump. A bench warrant can be issued for Donald John Trump. Okay, he also can have the Department of Justice file charges if they refuse to do so. He can do the same thing, but still not. But people get courts can also get special prosecutors, can't they, Red?
Yeah, they can.
Courts can sound special prosecutors. Donald Trump is playing with fire, and I'm loving it. Let's just stop giving Donald Trump this Teflon stuff. We know how this all went down. We know that Judge Kennan down there in Florida was just itching to find somewhere to let him loose. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump is not untouchable. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump is playing with fire, and he's going to find the hard way. It's almost like God. The Lord give it, and the Lord take it away. Now these Supreme Courts, they realize the monster they created. Now this Frankenstein monster is turning on them. They're going to have to. Donald Trump can still be prosecuted by these courts. He may think the judges don't have no way to enforce it. Federal marshals, the judge can order federal marshals to go arrest Donald Trump. That's right. Donald Trump can be arrested. You know what I'm saying? The courts can hold him to account. A special prosecutor can come in. They can bring a special prosecutor to prosecute Donald Trump, and they can jail Donald Trump. Simple as that. I still say, Reverend, I just had to call and let everyone know, you know what I'm saying? The way I'm saying, Reverend, it's not as dark. I feel like you, Rev. It's not as dark as people. It's playing out to be. This guy, Reverend, and I heard earlier one caller was saying about the young man, okay, sounding like Fox News, basically Fox News, Republican sound bites. I mean, like all is lost. Reverend, now, am I right or wrong? We've been dealing with these kind of Negroes ever since slavery.
That's right. This ain't nothing new.
Am I right or wrong? And we have overcome them. Do y'all think, I know y'all saw the movie Django. Okay, I know you saw the role that, what's the name who played Steven Reverend now? I'm just so proud about this. What's the name of the brother who played in Jungle Fever? He played the junkie. What's his name? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Spike Lee.
Very popular.
You talking about Spike Lee?
No, that's who made Jungle Fever. The name of the brother who played Django, who played Stevens in Django. What's his name? The one like
Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. My brother who spoke earlier, don't you know, in the cause of Stevens, Calvin wasn't a racist either. Okay? Am I right or wrong, Rev?
You right.
So I hear him so much gloom, like all the freaking laws. We can beat this guy. He can be stopped. All can be stopped. I still said, I'm going to hop off now. I still said, we got to notice and understand that now is the time to understand that the devastation has come out and it's hurting so many people. It's enough to make a Republican vote Democrat. That's our key. And voters saw the same thing. But Rev, I just had to call in and point that out, people. All is not lost. Listen, Rev, we can do this. Okay?
We've been through it, and we'll get through it again. Thank you for your call.
That's right.
We'll be right back. Let's take the break. Keep it in real. Sharpton.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 83-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to know.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came to me, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on civil rights and politics.
As far as I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
On and it bothered me, all my ministry. So one day I sat down and, just to get it off my chest, I sent a cosmic email to Mary. A cosmic email. Dear Mary, this is Reverend Al Sharpton, I do this, that, the other. And I just wanted to say to you, it bothered me that you left the crucifixion. And you know, I'm an activist, I do this and that. How could you leave with your son being killed for no just cause? How could you leave when they mocked him? Put crowns of thorns on his head. How could you leave? Why wasn't you protesting? Why wasn't you kicking and screaming? Why wasn't you crying? And I signed Reverend Al, and I felt a lot better after I sent the email. 325-797 1-877-532-5797. Don't forget, Saturdays and Sundays, I'm on the phones booking people now. It's going to be hot this weekend with all that's going on. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, both Saturday and Sunday. I'll be live both days with a lot of guests you need to hear and me pin them down and press them down to answering what is pertinent to us. I don't like guests just tell me how smart they are. I want people that's in a position, Senate, Congress, or governor, or a thinker that can tell me and therefore you what is going on and why. I don't need you to tell me what Thoreau said 300 years ago. I keep it real on Politics Nation. Watch it. Also, don't forget, you that in the New York area, I will be with you. If you are there, you'll be with all of us at the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally in Harlem every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., the House of Justice. and you need the energy. We need your input. Be there, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., House of Justice, 145th and Lenox. A guy stopped me the other day in the street and said, I hear you talking about it all the time. Sometime I listen on the radio to the Saturday morning rally. I think I'm going to come and check it out. I said, well, why not? If you listen to it, just you owe it to yourself. If you come one time, you'll keep coming. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television or at www.National Action Network live stream. And, of course, the National Action Network Convention is 2 weeks from today, April 2nd through the 5th. And everybody from Martin Luther King III to Ben Crump to District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who convicted Donald Trump of 34 felonies, to Tish James, to Patti LaBelle, we're going to honor. I mean, all these kind of workshops, top in their fields, you need to be there. And we're going to end the convention on the 5th, laying out who we are going to put on notice that we are going to boycott if they don't back up on DEI. Make sure you're there. It's free if you can't come, but 1 day, 2 days, be part of it. Be part of history. We're going to fight back. Everybody else can be moaning and groaning and mourning and tell me how long the bus been gone. No, we're going to hear Don Lemon is coming, or Chris Matthews that used to host Hardball. All of them, and we're going to put it all together then and say, okay, now we're putting this person on notice. Boom. We're getting ready to pull you out of business. Not putting a time on it until you succumb to justice. That's how they boycott. When I was growing up, I was trained that way. All right, and for you that want to register and be there, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number. You can register right now on the phone. Somebody's on the hotline right now, 1-877-626-4651. Guy stopped me the other day on the street, said, Rev Mal, I heard on radio about the convention. I'm going to come. I said, have you registered? He said, oh, not yet. I'll get to it. I said, you may get to it and the seats are gone. So do it now. And I think that it is important. I mean, the organization's been in existence 34 years. And I don't think there's ever been a convention more important than this year, because we need action more than we ever did. George in Georgia, WAOK. George, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
All right. Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm trying to make it. Yeah, I heard the young man that was talking to you the last call. Was talking about, doing whatever kind of Justice Department and all that, and Judge putting Donald Trump in jail. Donald Trump run the Justice Department. Donald Trump run the U.S. Marshal. Donald Trump won the Secret Service. Donald Trump run all that. You ain't gonna put him in jail like that. He'll never go to jail like that. You know what I'm saying? He run all that. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's amazing to me that people don't know this ain't no human doing. Donald Trump ain't no human doing. He's not no human doing. Ain't no political figure in this country, which is the most powerful country on earth, ever came into power with the powers he had, what he got. None in the history of the world. This is not no human doing.
So then what is it if it's not a human doing?
It's the doing of God. This is the doing of God.
And for what purpose?
This is the doing of God of Revelation. This is it.
For what purpose?
This is it.
What do you mean when you say this is it?
I know you know the scripture.
I want to know if you know the scripture. I want to know if you know it.
Yes, sir,
when
I
you
do.
say this is it, what do you mean?
Second Thessalonians 2:3. A great falling away, and that man of sin will be revealed, who will do all his will and counsel until the end. And this destruction is just not for America. This thing gonna go all over the earth. It's written.
All right. Well,
and I know
let me say this: I believe in the Scripture. I believe in Revelations, but I also believe that God can allow something to happen to test us. And the answer is, George, that rather than just sitting down doing nothing, saying this is it, is God want to say, see, are y'all going to stand up? I gave y'all some of your civil rights, some of your voting rights, some of things that would help your kids. Are y'all going to sit up there and let people take my blessings? That's what I believe. They could have sat there and said to Pharaoh, this is it. And Moses said, no, God said, let's go and to the promised land. So I think that in some ways we're copping out to act like that Donald Trump was inevitable and nothing we can do about it. I don't believe that. Now, you can believe that. We can interpret the same scripture differently, but I don't believe that. Let's go to Rick in Germany. Rick, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good day, Reverend Sharpton.
Good day.
I wanted to ask you if you ever got a chance to sit down and watch the film Civil War, and if you talked about it on the radio.
No, I did
on
not
Monday.
talk about it. Now, you're talking about the ones that Burns produced, right? It's like 8 episodes?
No. This is a Hollywood film called Civil War.
Oh, then
You're
I watched the
talking
wrong
about the
thing.
documentary.
All right, wait a minute. You talking about a Hollywood film, Civil War? Who produced it? Or who's in it? I had them download the wrong thing. Go ahead.
I can't remember who produced it, who directed it. I can't remember the
All
star.
right, well, the guy that
most of
called
the
me
stars-
about it, I hope he calls me and tells me, because I intentionally had them download, and I sat up and watched all 8, which was great. Ken Burns had done. But you're talking about a movie. I was watching the documentaries, 8 episodes. So it's my bad. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this in closing. It's even better that you watched a nonfiction documentary, because that history pertains to today. I'm in agreement with the other brother that just called in and said, you're not going to just have the judges arrest Donald Trump. I believe that there are people, white people in America, racist whites, armed whites, who are prepared for civil war should Donald Trump be arrested. I'm done, brother man.
All right, thank you for your call. Let's go to Ozzy in Cincinnati. Ozzy.
Yes, good day, my bishop. Just want to like to conclude a conversation we had yesterday, because at the end of it, you asked the question, should we start our own? And I believe you said, or do we take over the Democratic Party? Because I was making reference to the whites that sided with Trump, who were in the Democratic Party, both in the House and in the Senate. And my answer to your question would be, it's nonsensical to think that we could start our own and be effective in the next 2 to 4 years. I do believe that there will be a shift in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, that they'll become more of a centralist political organization. And that's how they're going to take over and win. But the other one is, do we take over the Democratic Party? I don't think we have the votes to take over, but I do believe that we should be able to share the throne with whomever it is that's in the Democratic Party, that our voice should be risen. We should rise our voices up and make demands on the Democratic Party that they service our needs as much as they're servicing anybody else.
No, I think you hit it right on the head. I think we don't have the numbers and organizing and the money to do an independent party that would be effective. We can make a statement with it, but that'd be effective in the next 2 to 4 years. But we can demand and be partnered in the Democratic Party because they do not have the numbers without us. And we prove with Obama what we could do, and in many ways what Kamala what we could do, because if it wasn't for that, she wouldn't have been vice president. And so I agree with that. And if we don't have the numbers to take the Democratic Party, an independent party mean we don't have the numbers to make to become president independently or take over the Congress. So politics is about numbers. So I think you are absolutely right. Now, I'm glad you said that because Ken Martin, who they just elected chairman of the party, is going to be at our National Action Network convention. I'm going to have a fireside chat and have the audience there so you can ask questions. I want to know where they're going to empower us and share power in the party. He just got elected. He's the new Democratic chair. He'll be there the first day. And so everybody, again, it's free if you're registered. So I thank you for your call. Let's go to Norm in DeSantisburg, Florida. Norm?
Hey. Sir, we got to go to break.
Wait a minute, Norm. We got to go to break. Let me take the break. I'll call you right. I'll come right back to you.
Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they are trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not going to have diversity. Outright said he's not going to deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing, and you in the pulpit. Well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time in which they lived. There are no out of place prophets. There are none that God sends to discuss what happened or what's going to happen. He uses them to happen right there. Moses didn't preach about Abraham. He got the strength from the lineage of Abraham to lead the Exodus. What will they say about our story? What will they say about our generation? If when you have blatant racism, you two are afraid to stand up and call the truth out.
The more you grind, the more you realize that people look and behave exactly like the choices they make every day. Whatever your choices are, how you eat, how you exercise, how you handle your temperament, how you handle challenges, whether you're disciplined, all of that is reflected in how you appear and how you behave every day. Your daily choices. That's why no matter where I am and no matter how much I have to do, I stay on my grind, working out, watching my diet, and trying to deal with my temperament because my behavior is a reflection of my choices that I make every day. And I don't worry about people being in opposition. People that oppose you are the ones that believe in your power and your potential more than anything. If they would oppose something that didn't have some force and power with it. So make your daily choices carefully and be very loyal and committed to the choices you make.
Oh, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Norm in DeSantisburg.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Sybil Wilkes just changed, modified part of what I was getting ready to say about the loss of Brother Shelton Ware, the ski year, and Red Ball Express, and those sort of things. I'm just curious, when we talked about DEI and affirmative action, and those Tuskegee Airmen and people in the Red Ball Express, did they get their achievement through DEI and affirmative action, or did they get it through merit? Did they did somehow someone mysteriously come down and give them the courage to get out there and fight for this country, even though we had just de facto segregation and those sort of things? So Mr. Hegstrom, was idea about merit. If merit was always the case, then I would tell people then, and if we earned everything on merit, and that's what he want to say, then Tulsa, Oklahoma would be the financial capital of the whole United States of America, not New York. And the same thing down here in Rosewood.
Well,
So
if it was on merit, he wouldn't be Secretary of Defense, and they wouldn't have gotten rid of the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So clearly it's not on merit. His only merit is that he was a weekend morning co-host on Fox TV. I mean, come on. Merit.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings me to this point. There's a very interesting trial that's taking place right now in Philadelphia. It's a case of the United States versus Dr. Neil Anand. You can follow it in our blog called youarewithinthenorms.com. But it has to do with predictive policing in terms of physicians that are using prescribe certain medications, even ordering certain medications medication period, for their patients and being told that they're overprescribing and those sort of things. Dr. Nanan is on trial, and they're trying to use this word, their favorite derogatory word, which they use on a lot of black physicians and dentists and pharmacists, drug dealer in white coat. And so what we say to them is that Dr. Nanan is going to fight for his rights there in Philadelphia. And there's other doctor, one doctor named Dr. Wren, who has been through this battle before. And all we say, they're being prosecuted by a bunch of Klansmen without their white robes, just in their finest men's warehouse suits. And that's what this whole thing's about, just predictive policing and stuff. And one needs to pay attention to this trial because it's an AI trial. And it's one of the first AI trials that are taking place here in this country, and it's what has been used rather effectively for a while against our black healthcare providers. But we have been able to stop them in several really known cases, one with Dr. David Lewis, Dr. Leslie Pompey, and Dr. Clarence Verdell, who's a psychiatrist out of New Jersey and stuff. We've been able to at least slow them down in our reports, in our writing, so people need to pay attention to that sort of thing that's going on, Reverend. And we continue to fight here in DeSantisburg, raising the flag, raising sand. We will not be quiet. We will not sit down, because what do they say? Do not be quiet, because no one will be out there to shut you up, because there's many in this city who are our people. I guess there are many in this city who are on your broadcast that are our people. We will not remain silent. I think that's what the Lord told on to Paul. I believe it's what he said. But he also told it to Norm, too. So I'll let you alone here.
Oh, yeah, okay? and he told the rest of us, thank you for your call. I know, and I spoke on it over the weekend. Woe unto those that are at ease in Zion. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio. Raj, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
We lost Raj. We
don't have Raj, so let's. All right, let me go to Alicia in Seattle, Washington. Alicia.
Hello, Al Sharpton.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure's mine.
I just wanted to say that this racism that you see in this country, this has been going on for, seemed like to me, 1,000 years. Because when you think about it, who do you see prospering today? Who do you see all the media coverage, the groups of so-called people of color that they talk about? Because everybody rallies around people from other countries, the whole media. Because I remember Puerto Rico, when they said Puerto Rico was a garbage dump. The whole world got mad. Everybody was sending, messages to, whoever sent it. Just like Khalil, the one that's in, this prison, deportation. The whole world rallies around him. He can get thousands and thousands of dollars for his defense. When these immigrants came here, they all got brand new credit. They all got brand new cars.
Where did they get brand new credit and brand new cars?
From they got amnesty.
No. You said they got brand new credit and brand new cars. Where?
In the United States.
From who?
They gave them. That's the reason why they.
I have never heard of that. Tell me where you. What state? What city was giving out brand new cars and brand new credit to immigrants?
Okay, I'm talking about Seattle, Washington.
That never happened in Seattle, Washington. Seattle, Washington did not give brand new credit and brand new cars to immigrants.
Okay, well, maybe not. But you can see the proof is in the pudding.
No, the proof is in the pudding. And if I ask you Whereas the pudding, you just told me maybe not. Let's go to the next call. I do not want this show to distribute misinformation. Because you say it and I don't correct it, and I love you, Alicia, but if I don't correct it or stop it, they're going to say, I heard on Al Sharpton's show, they're giving out credit in cars, and he let it go. It must be true. I can't let that go. Let's go to Mike in Fayetteville, Georgia. Mike, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, Reverend Al, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, sitting out here enjoying this beautiful Georgia weather. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today.
Don't rub it in.
Reverend Al, I've been listening to the show, and I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
Donald Trump did an executive order attacking the law firm in Seattle.
Right.
Actually, how is that even worded in an executive order? I've been trying to figure out how did they even word something like that?
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to get a copy of it because I don't even know how it's legal. Executive order is supposed to deal with federal government. The president is the chief executive over the executive branch. How is a law firm outside of government that may be representing people subject to an executive order? Now, who they represented may be subject to it if you have grounds. But how you going after law firms for practicing law? Now, if that is not an autocracy, I don't know what is.
I'm befuddled, and I was hoping you could explain how that executive order was even written, because I can't figure it out.
No, I can't help you with that. I cannot tell you how it was written, and I do not think it's legal. You cannot. What Mike is referring to is that he is giving executive orders, and they're going after law firms that represented people that they may disagree with. Well, you don't have jurisdiction over law firms. Mass killers have the right to a lawyer. I mean, what are we talking about? So now we're going to say if you are a lawyer or a law firm and practicing something that is politically against me as president, I can put an order against you. So, I mean, that's a totalitarian state. That's ridiculous. Suppose if with all of the cases Trump had and lost, if Biden had put an executive order against the law firm where he had no legal defense, they'd have been ready to turn the country upside down. Absolutely wrong. Let's go to Quinn and enjoy that 80-degree weather. We'll get there in a month or two. Don't worry about it. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I help formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
No justice, no justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice.
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We never shy, never shake. Give me a papa God, rain, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came to me, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on Civil Rights and Politics.
As far as I know here, you're in trouble. Where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not going to have diversity. Outright said he's not going to deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing. And you in the pulpit, well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time in which they live. There are no out of place prophets. There are none that God sends to discuss what happened or what's going to happen. He uses them to happen right there. Moses didn't preach about Abraham. He got the strength from the lineage of Abraham to lead the Exodus. What will they say about our story? What will they say about our generation? If when you have blatant racism, you two are afraid to stand up and call the truth out.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention.
Quintez in Alabama. Quintez.
They just hung up.
Quintez hung up. All right, let me go to Cassandra in Maryland, WOLB.
Hi, Reverend Al. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So good to talk to you. I won't be long because possibly I could follow up with you about this. I teach. I'm a professor at Morgan State University.
Okay.
And I plan to come. We plan to come to the NAN conference.
Great.
And I was looking on the schedule, and I didn't really see any of the sessions or workshops that are dealing directly with the boycott. So I wanted to follow up with you because I teach fashion merchandising, and we deal a lot with consumer behavior and consumer adoption, economics. And so we want to really have a structured way that we could get this information out to that target population that I teach.
Right? The boycott, the conclusion of the boycott will be on Saturday's session when you see on the agenda measure the movement. That's where we're going to announce the boycott plan because we're meeting all week. We're meeting all week and getting everybody's input on what the plan is and announce it Saturday, the last day of the convention.
Okay, and then I will follow up with Larry Young, who we work. Yes, and so that's what we want to bring, that type of momentum, for those who are in our sphere of influence.
Okay, absolutely, that's the right thing to do. But I look forward to seeing you at the convention. Make sure you come over and say who you are. Let's go to the Sage of the South, Brother Jihad, in Atlanta, keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I got your shirts for you. I just couldn't catch up with you in Selma.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. Okay.
Well, they had me a little jammed up over there on the side where the vendors was. I was short and I couldn't leave the area.
Oh, okay.
And you all had started the march already across the bridge. But I'm gonna mail it to you, or I can bring it with me to the convention. But
Either
I think
one.
I'll mail it so you'll get it.
Yeah,
get your letter
if you
early.
get it to me, we got 2 weeks. If you mail it to me, I can have them at the convention.
There you go. Well, I'll do that. I'll do that then.
Thank
you. So if the brother give me the address of where to mail it, I'll mail it when I'm finished. Look, it's obvious that this guy intends to rule by executive orders. You know what I mean? And the idea being that he's just going to throw it out there and basically test the judiciary. Both of us have a problem with that word, with the judiciary. And the judiciary appears to me at this particular time to be kind of like standing up to this position that he keeps presenting. And I think, is there a way that we can, I don't know if you can, write letters to the federal judges that we can show the federal judges our support for at least standing up for democracy or standing up against just allowing this guy to run rampant over the government.
Yeah, you know, I think that's a great idea. Let me get a lawyer and find out exactly how we can write the judges. It would seem to me that it would be appropriate, but let me make sure.
Right.
So in the breaks, I'll call Ben Crump or somebody and get that legal advice. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and then secondly, you know, Reverend Al, doing most of the black youth killing or black men killing during the protests, we never had a group of active police officers,
right,
black police officers, stand up against what they saw. And it appears to me with the things that's going on with the military right now, for those brothers that represent or that's in the military, I don't know what percentage we are, but they have to take a position. They have to open their mouth. I mean, it will really come off strong if they see this is happening and they say, why should I serve now? Or why should I serve if you're going to take my image off of the walls? You're going to take my contribution off of the walls, and I'm putting my life on the line for the country.
Right.
But their silence is deafening, to be honest with you. And I think I know it's kind of a hard thing to do, but we're in hard times right now where you have to have some courage and you have to stand up. You know what I mean? And when they see these brothers in the military saying, wait a minute, what you all are doing, we got a position against this, then they have to reconsider this, because now you're on the verge of disrupting the whole military system. You know what I mean? And if you're going to kick all of the brothers out of the military, then that just further gives us clarity on where you are and what your position is. You know what I mean? And then those brothers, those Europeans who support those brothers that's in the military, then they would also take a stand. But these brothers in the military, seeing all of this take place, they got to open their mouth, Reverend Al. Seriously.
No,
you know what I mean?
I think you're absolutely right. I think that to not open their mouths is to put them in more danger. If they see that you're quiet when they can take down people as iconic as Jackie Robinson, you are worthless to them. They feel they can do anything to you.
That's all you are, is a body that they're going to send to the Middle East or Africa to be killed.
That's right.
And lastly, I'd like to say to Senator Schumer, you know, I disagreed with what he did also, but let me say this to the Democrats, and this message has to be getting to them. That's a done deal now.
Right.
You can't take that vote back.
Right.
So what the Democrats, we can't spend time now dogging each other out over that vote. It's done. Now, the question is, what are you two going to do now? How are you going to come together now to address whatever new situation is going to be presented to us by this particular decision? Just to argue and fight each other about the decision, that just plays right into the Republicans' hand. Let that go. It's done. You know what I mean? Me and my wife had an argument about something. Yeah. You know what I mean? We have an argument, you know what I mean? And once it's over with, if you keep beating me up about that same argument over and over again, we're not going to move forward, to be honest with you, right?
No, you're right.
So
and let me say this, Brother Jahar. That's exactly what I said to Schumer. I disagree with what he did. I disagree how he did it. But let's move on.
Yeah.
The other bogus argument, I heard somebody on, I think it was Morning Joe this morning. I'll be on tomorrow at 9. And they was talking about where we need new generation. This does not go by generation. Let me remind people, Stephen Miller, the architect, all of this, is 39 years old.
Yeah.
Matt
That's
Gates
right.
is 42 years old. J.D. Vance is 40. The next generation ain't the answer. The question is who they are and what they about. It ain't about the generation. If it's a generational problem, J.D. Vance is the biggest one in the next generation.
You know what? To support what you're saying, I heard last night when somebody presented that argument. One of the people said, "Well, how do you explain Nancy Pelosi?"
Right, that's right. Nancy Pelosi, yeah, she's in her mid-80s, and she's standing up against what Schumer did, and J.D. Vance wants to lock everybody up. I mean, come on, it ain't got nothing to do with generation. That's a cop-out.
Nothing. That's another trick to get us arguing with each other again and playing this same game over and over again. So thanks a lot, Reverend.
All
Al.
right,
I'll be
thank
real
you.
quick. I'm not going to answer
But y'all give him the address so he can mail me that stuff. I definitely want to get that to the convention.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Ron.
Break. Let's go to break.
Ron, I'll come back to you after the break. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Phil.
Yes, sir.
Let me give you the address to give. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, that Ethiopian Coptic cross. That was my first year when civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net
We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We never shy, never shake. Give me a papa God, rain, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we they wade in the water, children.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
You live, sir.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Let me go back. Let me read, and I'm going back to the our callers, and let me read. Marshall Amder said, Reverend, why are you waiting for the convention to announce your DEI target? Time is priority. Every day that passes may have some to feel lost. It's important, and there's no hurry. No, it is that we want a strategy. I have an organization. When I speak, I'm not just a radio disc jockey. I want to lay out to the chapters leaders around the country what we're going to announce so that they will say, fine, we will close them down in our city. We done had 2 or 3 people that have announced things, that have done that in their thing. So I've supported all of that. But I want one that if it's got to last a year, I know I can depend on NAN folk to do that. This is serious. This ain't something to be jumping up and I say something and then get the convention to say, are y'all with me? We're going to deal with, we have the commission, will report at the convention to our chapter leaders and our board, and everyone will say, we're with it. So that's why I'm doing it that way. They call it organization. That's why Montgomery boycott was effective 60 years ago or 65 years ago, and that's why every boycott since. You cannot move with an organization unless everybody is in advance. The leadership has bought into what you're announcing. Anybody can jump up and get on Facebook and announce something, and for 2 hours tomorrow we're going to do so-and-so, and that's good. I'll support it, but that's not going to have the lasting impact. Let me remind everybody, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. on MSNBC. Make sure you tune in and watch the show. A lot going to pop off this weekend. We're going to be right on it. You that are in the New York area, New Jersey area, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Saturday Action Rally. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Guy called me the other day and said, Rem Al, you never tell me when the Saturday Action Rally is. I said, get some sleep, call me back. Saturday Action Rally is on Saturday. You just said it. Don't forget, National Action Network Convention, 5 days. If you can't do all 5, do 1 day, 2 day. Everybody going to be there. You want to know what day? It's all free. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and we laid out the preliminary schedule. We'll be adding to it. I don't know if we put Ken Martin, the head of the new chair of the Democratic Party, called. He's going to be there. Al Green, the congressman, will be there. Stacey Abrams, on and on and on. Choose your day and come and be there. Let's go to Brother Meach in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WNOV. Brother Meach.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Doc.
Good afternoon.
I thought I'd give you a call. Hey, listen. Now, I heard one of the lower callers talking about how we could actually become a third party or take over the Democrat Party. Actually, with our voting, blacks voting, we have dominated the with our percentage of voting. We only 14% of the population, and probably 60% of that is eligible to vote. And the stats might be off a little bit, but they're pretty accurate. However, when we talk about taking over that political party, we've already did that. And my with the percentage of people that we have, my concern is that we have 5 black organizations, main organizations. We got NAACP. We got the Urban League. Used to be a swaying kind of vote, but they're more Democrat now. You got NAN. You got the ACLU, and then we have our Black Caucus in D.C. Now, why hasn't anybody been to the table to sit down to bring our own executive order to this gentleman? Or is it that we beat the president up so bad that we feel as though we don't have a chance, or he won't give us the conversation, and he might won't. But at the same time, nobody's been to the table to actually sit down and talk. We fight.
Now, wait a minute. You want us to go to Trump to get an executive order?
No. I'm saying these executive orders that are being put out.
Right.
Why haven't we came up with an executive order that we'd like to see put in place?
But we don't have the executive wing of the country. I mean, you can only give an executive order if you're the
No,
president.
I'm talking about our organizations. We got 5
Oh, you're talking about a
organizations. I just called
collective
them out.
organization from all of us together.
Has anybody been to the man and sit down and talk on our behalf?
Who, to Trump?
To Trump, to that administration.
No.
Has anybody been to represent black folks?
Not that I know of. I mean,
Now, why not, Doc?
Well,
why not?
I'll try to answer if you let me. I have said when Donald Trump first got elected, and I've said it on this show and I've said it on TV, he called me because I've known him. I marched on him. Then he used to go to boxing match. He even came to National Action Network's convention twice when he was trying to act like he was a Democrat. He called me. He said, I know we don't get along. He said, I want you to come to Mar-a-Lago and let's meet. I said, I'll only meet if I could bring the other civil rights organization here. I don't know them. I know you, Al. He wouldn't meet with them. So I wouldn't meet. The 4 years he was in, we talked 2 or 3 times. We talked during COVID. I wanted to know why they weren't doing certain services in certain communities. We talked another time during George Floyd. I was trying to get him to do something. He was president, wouldn't do nothing. He refused to meet with a collective. That this time he's only been in 2 months. I have not heard from him. And I would say the same thing if he called me. I don't know if the other civil rights organizations you name have heard from him. It is not, in my opinion, in the interest of anybody to meet with him alone and let him use it as a photo op that he met with civil rights leaders. I think that you're right. We all should meet if there is going to be a substantive meeting, but everybody needs to be in the meeting, at least 5 or 6 organizations, and protect ourselves. Now, we can meet, but I can tell you now, as somebody that's forward in 40 years, I don't think Donald Trump is going to do anything, no matter who he meets with, because I think that he is knowing that he was elected, taking shots against us. And why does he want to look like he's appeasing us? He was elected. During the campaign, he was talking about they want to change the military base of Fort Bragg and name it Fort Reverend Al Sharpton. He said that just 2 months ago. So, I mean, he's playing off of us. So to meet with him, I don't think would produce nothing. But thank you for your call. Let's go to Ron in Hamilton. Ron, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I had a thought. I'm in my 80s, so I can talk, but I don't walk as well. But the bottom line is I had a thought. I go back years back and worked with students in law schools, moot court, and basically student service projects and learning projects. And it came to me that the ill-gotten gains that Mr. Musk is getting from basically burning down the government and then getting the contracts to rebuild and operate, those ill-gotten gains should be taken from him and brought back to the citizens. Could we have, and I'm asking you and your connectivity, could we have a citizens' interest lawsuits, civil lawsuits against Mr. Musk for the ill-gotten gains of profits that he gets from the government contracts due to the destruction of the government agencies and the rebuilding contracts that he gets? Can't we do that, even though he's pardoned criminally from the federal, but state lawsuits all across the country?
Yeah, well, that is a very good point, Ron. That's why we're having 6 state attorney generals come to our convention 2 weeks from now, because we want the state attorney generals to tell us what we can do on a state level and what they're willing to do in their state, because the federal government is one thing, even though a lot of the federal judges were appointed by Biden, and you may get something there, but we need a legal strategy from some of them that sit in those seats. That's an excellent point. That's exactly why we're having some of them come. Let's go to Geralda in Brooklyn, New York. Geralda.
Yes, hello, Rev.
Hi.
This is Geralda, keeping it real. Yeah, you just made some interesting points that I just want to hit on. And the first one is addressing misinformation. When the lady, was making her remark, then the one that just finished, where these were some of the points I was also interested in, where he was talking about standing behind the federal government, the federal judges that are fighting against Trump and Elon Musk.
Right.
We have to rally around all of them We also have to understand our history from the beginning. Because a lot of us are misguided, a lot of us are miseducated, and a lot of us have been brainwashed. If you had a caller that called in on Tuesday, and he was so right with telling you that we all need to listen carefully when things are being said through the government. We also have to pay attention to the news reports that are being reported, because a lot of those are lies. And we also have to get together, like you said. I don't know what's going to come out the convention, but we need to have a place where we can sit down and chat with our legal representation in government, and also to the politicians, because they're the ones that actually have to do the fighting. And because, like you said, if the public decide to come out and fight, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be catastrophic, mayhem, like it is over in Palestine right now. So they're the ones that have to really come and start the fight within government, because the government is corrupt. It's been corrupt from the beginning. It's an illegal organization that was put here by some illegals, because they're the real illegals. And I would like people to stop calling migrants illegals, because they're Americans. They're born on this landmass called America. And as far as crime is concerned, we have Europeans that come over here on a regular basis, and they're just criminals too. Not all of them. Some of them have criminal behavior also that needs to be addressed, and they need to be deported as well. So that's my say for today. Have a good day, Rev.
All right. Thank you, as always, for your call. Let's get ready to go. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that wrote comments on our live stream page. Let me thank all of you watching on YouTube. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally to keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Breaking news.